Good morning all in the studio, as you can see, and I'm gonna flip the camera around here and show you what today's plan is. All right, so last week I left off you completing kind of this background for the sycamore tree, and I believe I showed you this was kind of the finalized sketch of the tree. So that's where we initially left off. And the plan for this week's video is to get this painting finished. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's what we will be doing. But before we dive into this painting process, here's a quick introduction in case you're new around here and wondering who I am. Hi there, I'm Stacy, the encaustic mixed media artist behind Studio Stacy. Encaustic literally means to burn in. So I paint with beeswax and a torch, and because it's mixed media, pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Consider subscribing and joining this artsy community. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, which helps me get introduced to more like-minded artsy folks like yourself. All right, so we are not off to an incredibly early start here in the studio today. My heater in here decided to freeze up last night, overnight, and it's very cold out today. It's like 19 degrees or 11 degrees or I don't know, some crazy obscene number. But because of that, we had to unthaw it, so I had to use my heat gun for other purposes than art and take and unthaw my heater out back, the unit out back. It is now pumping hot air, so that is good, but I did want to let it warm up in here a bit before I came back over. So it's now toasty and pumping lovely heat out, but yeah, a little bit later in the start for today, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to get this done today, but I'll flip the camera around here now and show you kind of what my plan is for today, and yeah, we'll see where we go. All right, so I showed you this background earlier, and let me reach over here, this sketch, and as you can see, the sketch is much smaller than the background. So if I were just to put this tree on here, it hardly takes up any of the painting. So basically I need to enlarge this sketch, and I'm pretty happy with it. So what I did, because I don't want to reinvent the whole wheel here and redraw this tree out in larger format, what I did is I took this earlier this morning, scanned it into my computer, and then put it onto a little disk, a thumb drive. And I'm going to be using this larger piece of mixed media paper, which happens to be the same size as this panel, as you can see here, which is 18 by 24. So I'm gonna put this up on my easel and use that thumb drive with this projector. And if I think about it, I'll stick the link down below. It's a fairly inexpensive projector, but it works quite nicely. And I know I've mentioned it before in the past, but I'm gonna use the thumb drive hooked up onto this and project that sketch onto here, which should, in theory, make it quicker to redraw the tree into a larger piece of paper. All right, I have the sycamore tree onto this larger piece of paper, and I'm going to take this Derwent Ink Pens pencil
along with some tenguchu paper, which you've seen me do this in the past, but just thought I'd let you know in case you're new around here, and trace this sycamore tree onto the tenguchu paper with this Derwent Inktense pencil. And this way it will then allow me to embed the image into the painting, because you can't really embed really thick mixed media paper into an encaustic painting. And also this tenguchu paper is see-through, so you'll still be able to see through to the background. So that's what I'm doing here.
All right, all. That took a lot longer than what I thought it was going to. But it's done, and I think I'm gonna call it for today. It's like 2 o'clock, and I need to go get some lunch. I'm quite hungry and a bit of computer work this afternoon, but I'm gonna come back tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's the plan. Hopefully the heater will be all good overnight. It's supposed to drop down really cold again, but at any rate, come back tomorrow in here and get this embedded into the panel and start painting the tree. That's the plan. We'll see you then. Hi all, day number 2 here. And kind of was a little bit slower start here in the studio again. We actually ran out of coffee, and it's freezing. We've had some crazy weather. I know I keep talking about it, but it's crazy. And all of our doors on our vehicles were frozen shut. So yeah, we had to unthaw those before we could go pick up coffee.
Burr.
Oh, yay.
So it was a little bit slower start here in the studio, but made it in here. It is beautiful out. The ice on the trees, absolutely stunningly gorgeous, but yeah, just chilly. So heater is cranking. I'm gonna take off this windbreaker and get to painting hopefully this tree. I'll flip the camera around here, take this off and flip the camera around and show you what we got going on. All right, I don't remember if in this video I showed you this at all or not, but this is the trunk sketch. So this is what the trunk of the tree is gonna look like. And these are the colors in it. So I've got like this kind of mauve-y pink color. This is actually titanium buff, I believe. And then these 3 random green colors that just actually got made out of drip tray colors. So, and I think that's how this one came about as well. But at any rate, these are the tree trunk colors, the tree colors, and of course you saw me get this finalized yesterday, and it's on this tenguchu paper, which you saw me stick it down on, or not stick it down on, but trace it onto. And I have this thing holding it because the heater behind me is blowing. But at any rate, I also have the heat gun out. So what the plan is, first things first, is to get this embedded onto the background and then hopefully get started on partially painting the tree. And I think today's plan is basically going to be focusing on the larger sections of the trunk and some of the branches. I'm not going to get out the small encaustic writer or anything like that as of today, because I need to put the words down. So here, let me flip this camera around again one more time. Okay, I think the camera's focusing there, but these are the words that go down on these tree paintings as part of the background. And I think I've mentioned this in previous videos, but our printer happens to be broken at the moment. So I take and get these printouts done at the library. But because it is so cold out, school has been closed for the past 2 days, and my guess is it might remain closed the rest of the week. And I like to put those words down before I finalize the entire tree, just so some of them kind of look like they bleed into the tree trunk a bit. So I can't really do that until the schools open back up, so the library opens back up. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get as much of this tree done as possible. And then, so, all right, let me back up again. Hopefully this isn't getting too wordy for you all, but basically the big blocks of color in the bigger areas, I'm gonna use with a paintbrush and then fuse each layer with the torch. You'll see. The encaustic writing tool that I'm eventually going to do on these smaller branches, it does not need to be fused. So when I fuse things with the torch, sometimes it could distort some of the words and the backgrounds if I'm not extra careful, which it's possible, but you know, sometimes I'm a little careless at it. So I think that's why I want to get these bigger blocks of color down with the paintbrush and using the torch, fusing the torch, before I put the words down. So it works out nicely. And hopefully the library will be open back up later this week. I don't know. If not, I'll be picking you up sometime to finish this. But at any rate, let's get to painting and I'll stop blabbering here.
However, before we can get to painting this tree, I need to embed the tree that I traced onto this Tenguchu paper down onto the background. So first things first, let's embed the tree onto the background.
All right, tree drawing is embedded into this background. That took me probably about an hour. It takes quite a while to get this fully embedded. And I like to make sure every little piece is fully embedded. I go over it several times. It's a bit of an arm workout, if you will. Not that the heat gun is that heavy, but you know, waving it around for an hour gets a little tiresome. At any rate, it is fully embedded and we are ready to start painting. So that's the next step. I keep looking down because it's sitting down there, and yeah, it came out really well. But I just thought I'd mention that it does take a while to embed even this really thin paper in a larger painting. And like I said, I like to make sure every little piece is embedded. That way it ensures that it's never going to kind of come up, and that when I go to buff it, if I want like a shiny surface, if the paper, you know, there's still portions of this paper kind of showing a little bit and it's not completely embedded, it's not going to buff out very nicely. So, and you'll kind of feel that texture on the painting rather than just like the encaustic texture. So at any rate, just thought I'd mention that. All right, let's get to painting. All right, all, I think this is about as far as I can get with this painting. I'll flip the camera around and show you where I'm at here. It is by no imagination done. I have a lot of sorry, there's a hair right here. So annoying. Anyways, I have a lot of little details to still put in, and I want to try to make it pop off the painting a little bit more. But I think I want to get the words printed next. So this is about as far as I can go until the library opens back up. Now, I can always go to a copy center, but I'm going to wait and see what happens here. And as soon as I get those words printed out, I will be picking you back up. So for you, it'll just be a few moments. Stay tuned for that. And I'm just going to leave this mess out because no point in cleaning it up when I need the same exact colors here, and hopefully in just a couple days. So we'll see you then.
All right, all. It is still quite frigid out, but luckily the library opened for a short window of time. They were gracious enough to open back up just briefly, and I was able to go and get this copy made on for these words. So now I'm just transferring them down onto this painting, and I didn't really pick the camera up to talk to you for this one, so you're getting a voice over me here. But I think it came out quite nicely, and it was just a really quick studio session here, just basically to get these words embedded. And I will be picking you up just in a few to hopefully get this painting finished.
Hi all, I'm back in the studio, as you can clearly see. And I'm really gonna try to get this painting done in today's studio session. Fingers crossed that's gonna happen. Yeah, I have the heat. I know I keep saying it, but it is just frigid here. But I have the heat cranking here, so hopefully that whirling in the background is not too distracting. And I have my small electric Kistka writing tool hooked up and heating up. The wax is turned on, and I'm gonna flip the camera around here and show you the painting and kind of tell you the dilemma that I'm having with it. It's not that I don't like it, but it's not exactly how I had it envisioning it in my head. So let me flip the camera around, and I might try to experiment with a few things directly on the painting. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but we'll see. Anyways, let me flip the camera on and I'll explain it better what I'm thinking here. All right, I'm trying to get you like an overall angle here, but I think, and you know, these skinny branches over here, I haven't put any wax down. That's what I got this, trying not to spin too much. The electric Kistka is out and heated up, hooked up to the temperature regulator and everything. So that's heating up. So these skinny branches that you really can't see at all, they're gonna pop off once I get some of the, you know, tiny little wax writer going on these. But I am still not completely convinced that it's popping off enough. So I might try to go along maybe like kind of an edge, some of these edges maybe, with a darker, maybe Inktense pencil. I don't know. I think I'm gonna try that and see how it goes, and hopefully I don't mess up the entire painting. Like I said, I don't hate it, and it's not bad. It's just not popping off enough, I don't think. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it popping off enough? It's going to be kind of too late for you to give me your opinion anyways, because I'm just going to go for it here. But yeah, wish me luck. Here we go. All right, here are the colors of the Inktense pencils that I kind of pulled out that I thought might work. These two I think are definitely too bright on the painting. If I kind of take a step back perhaps, I think those are too bright for my liking. This one's not bad. This is actually the green that I used to already trace the branches when I traced it onto the Tenguchu paper. This is the green that I used, which isn't bad, but it's not exactly, I'm sorry, I'm pointing over here and you can't see because I'm not pointing the camera. I think you can kind of see that line going along there. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. So that one's not bad, but maybe not quite right. This is close, but I don't know, it's almost like too gray. And I think this is also too like bluish gray. I'm kind of leaning towards this color, which is bark, if any of you are interested in knowing that. So I think I'm going to try this, and I don't know, we'll go from there. This I just think is also like, it's too pinky. I don't know, and I think that's too orange. So yeah, I think it's this one, bark. So all right, let me get you set up maybe on time lapse. We'll see. And yeah, hopefully we don't ruin this. And I should say, just in case you're new around here and haven't seen me use these Inktense pencils with encaustic before, they work really well, and I've used them a lot in like fine line detailing. But basically, you can either draw right on the surface without wetting the brush, or not the brush, without wetting the pencil. Sometimes I also dip the pencil tip into just plain old water and go along with it. And then sometimes I go back in afterwards with a paintbrush and water after I've put the pencil down onto the painting. But basically the nice thing with these Inktense pencils is that once you add water to them and they dry, they become permanent. So it's really nice to use with encaustic, and they write over the wax quite nicely, as hopefully you will see.
All right, I think that little bit of shading really popped that off pretty nicely. So the next step is to start getting the details put in on the rest of this tree, getting out the electric Kiska as promised. And I'm just going to start filling in some of those smaller areas that were too small to paint with a paintbrush, and I will be picking you back up after I finish this. Hopefully this goes well, and we'll see a finished painting pretty soon. All right, I think I've done it. This painting took a little bit longer than some of the other ones, but I do believe it is finished. I'm going to get you a couple close-ups here of the branches and the background. I'm really happy with it, and I'm glad I went back over that with the Derwent pencil to pop off some of those areas. This is going to be the end of the painting session of this video, so if you don't want to know about some life stuff and take a look at winter here in beautiful West Virginia, then I will see you on the next one. Don't forget, if you liked the video, to give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're not already. More painting videos like this one will be coming your way. If you are interested in life here in West Virginia in the middle of winter, stay tuned for a short segment on that. We'll see you shortly. I think I have mentioned this previously, but we have mini splits that heat our barn dominium. And when the temperatures dip down below about 30 degrees, the mini splits can no longer keep up with heating the barn dominium, and it gets a little uncomfortable down into the 50s in the barn dominium. So we supplement with a wood burner and some firewood.
All right, guys, this could be a problem.
It's the end of the wood as we know it, and I feel cold.
We definitely underestimated this by a bit, by a lot, I would say.
And as you might have seen in a previous video, we have gathered some wood of some trees that have fallen down this year, but unfortunately that tree or wood is just too wet to burn this year, so we need to get it chopped up and ready for next year. However, since we're out of wood this year, we're in a bit of a bind. Luckily, I was able to call around and I found a guy that could cut us some firewood, some dry firewood, hopefully, that we can use. Now, unfortunately, it was a little bit more wet than what we would have liked, but drier than the wood that we have. And it will hopefully get us through the rest of this winter. I think you can also tell that some of these pieces are a little bit mangled, if you will. But again, should get us through the rest of this winter. Lesson here is that next year we need to stock up on even more wood. Luckily, we live in a neighborhood where there are trees that are falling down and neighbors in need of getting rid of these fallen trees. So that will be the plan come springtime. Stay tuned for that. And now that we're back to comfortably burning wood in our wood burner, heating up the barn dominium so we're a little more comfortable in it, we can get outside and enjoy the wonderful winter weather here. We truly love living here in all seasons, but in the winter it is just absolutely stunningly beautiful. So again, thanks so much for joining us. I will see you on the next one. Stay warm all, stay safe, and don't forget, hit that thumbs up button if you liked the video and consider subscribing. Bye for now.